What's going on, nerds? Welcome back to Comic Book Nerd Nation, episode 52 this time. I'm Fox2. We got Pirate.
Or do we?
Who is not talking for some reason.
Hey, what's going on?
Okay, that was interesting. And we've got Topher. We're going to let it ride.
I was gonna ignore the camera, but I should point out that that's a full year of shows we've done. So I'm celebrating with little mini powdered donuts.
That's true. This is technically, even though we celebrated quote unquote with a special episode on 50, this is technically one solid year of every single Wednesday having a podcast go up. That's pretty awesome.
And then next week we can celebrate the 1 year anniversary. We can have a reason to celebrate like every week.
I know. If we put our brains to it, we can probably celebrate every single week. And apparently, we have a guest star, Diamond the dog, there, hanging out with Pirate. She is super interested in what's going on right now. Super interested in what's going on. This is going to be hilarious.
As long as she's not.
We should have your dog and my cat like face off.
Yeah, I don't think that would be very interesting for the viewers, though. It might be really entertaining. Maybe after we're done recording, that could be.
Diamond's like, fuck this. This guy's stupid. I'm out of here.
Yeah, fuck this shit. I'm out.
You said that. She banded ship.
Yeah, she's like, fuck cats. Yeah, you watch what end up happening. You get the cat on screen, and then fucking the pit bull fucking smashes through the front screen of the computer, and that's it. All of a sudden, Pirate's screen just goes dark and it's game over.
It goes from pirate to fucking ghost, dark, missing pirate.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about what we've been reading. For me, it was kind of a light week. I just haven't had time. I'm still working on getting through the Civil War stuff. I'm getting pretty close at this point. I'm hoping to have it done by the end of this week so I can move back to some more current stuff. Although I'm kind of torn. I don't know if I want to move back to the current release stuff like the Batman Eternal and the stuff that's going on with Green Lantern, or if I want to like move over and do the Planet Hulk World War Hulk, because clearly I'm very interested in that, but I don't know. I'm kind of torn on which direction to go, but regardless, I need to hurry up and finish this Civil War undertaking that I've started.
You gotta be fucking super close.
Like, I'm up in the the 80s or early 90s as far as how many books I've read to get through it. It's been really, really long. Good, really good. I don't want to like confuse like lots of reading with bad, because it's definitely. If you haven't read it, if you're listening to this and you haven't read it yet, it is definitely worth the read. It's one of those, I feel like even after I read this, down the road in a few years, I may go back and read it again because it's just that good. All the interactions between the superheroes and, facing off against one another and just the politics and everything that's involved with the storyline is amazing. They did a really fantastic job of putting that one together. So what about you, Topher? What have you been reading?
Let's see here. Well, I finished reading the Avengers Arena series I was talking about last week. And ended pretty well. I enjoyed the way that went. It was kind of interesting. There were a lot of people who were writing in letters, talking about how no, you can't kill my favorite characters, and like there was so much hate mail that they printed on the letters page like early in the series, and as it went on, like it was kind of cool because you'd see letters from people who had started reading the series and like hated it, and the people who sent in that hate mail, and then later on, excuse me. Later on, they would write it and be like, "I didn't want to like this series, but damn it, I like this series." They get
I think
hooked
that's a
on
testament to the writing staff, though. Really, like if you can take something that people are adamantly against and turn it into something that the haters end up enjoying, because everybody knows there's plenty of internet warriors out there.
Yeah, and it's interesting because these were basically kind of like, C-list, D-list, younger, teenage characters that in a lot of ways could be throwaway characters, like from the publishing standpoint, like they're not the huge sellers, they're not the the big draws, they're little characters who haven't really necessarily been in a starring role in anything, but that a lot of people have been reading for many years now, and have really taken a liking to, grew up identifying with, and so like these are characters that are expendable from a business perspective, but from a fan perspective, they're favorites, so
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of touchy there, but I mean they didn't pull any punches, and I mean they killed off a few characters, and but some I what I it, reading the letters page of that was really interesting, because there was one character, somebody wrote in and said something about, like, look, I hated this concept. I didn't want to see a bunch of, cheap deaths for the sake of selling books, and but I started reading because I had to see what happened to my favorite character, and when they died, like it hurt, and they were like, I spent like 2 days crying, but they were like, but that being said, thank you for giving me a good story about how that character lived their life and would have died to keep living the way they lived, and for giving me a great story. So like it was kind of cool, but I really enjoyed it, and then there was no cop out ending, I mentioned last week that I was waiting for them to reveal that it was like all a dream, or they were playing a simulation or something. Like, no, it's all real. So like I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything if anybody ever wants to read it there, because you should go into it thinking this is real. This is they're playing for keeps here, rather than holding out for some cheap escape out. So yeah, I like that series.
Although, do you think that added to the experience for you reading it, kind of with that like jaded look at it, thinking like, okay, this is cool, but at the end they're gonna throw that twist, and it's gonna be like an alternate dimension, or it's gonna be something that undoes it all.
It was good and bad. Like it was good, and that sometimes I'd see somebody die and I'd be like, oh, I like that character. Damn it! This better be there better be something else going on here, so that they come back. But at the same time, it was bad because after I got to a certain point, it was like I don't want them to, like, it would cheapen this book if they, at the end they're like, oh, just kidding, it was just a dream, and like it would, they already undo way too many deaths in the Marvel universe, in comic books in general,
Don't
so like, so like, it's one thing to bring them back, years or even a few months down the line in some cases, but in the same series, by the end, just be like, haha, just kidding, it was all a dream. Like, I realized, I would be disappointed at that point. Like, at first I wanted some of the characters to come back, then I realized, if they do that, I'm going to be really disappointed, because this book then really was basically a gimmick just to sell shit.
I really like it when stories like that you really feel like you kind of have an idea of what's going to happen at the end, and it takes you on this like almost emotional roller coaster, of like, oh man, I really like that character, but I think they're gonna, they wouldn't really actually do that. This is gonna, they're gonna undo it at the end with some kind of plot twist, or some kind of, like you said, it was all a dream, or whatever, simulation. But then as you go through the story, you start grasping to the story itself and really gravitating to hoping, man, I really like what they're doing here. And, you kind of go back and forth as far as what you as a reader want. I think that that's a big testament kind of to the writing staff, because you don't really know who to root for, so to speak, or what you want to happen until it happens. And then ultimately you end up being really happy with it.
Yeah, it was written by Dennis Hopeless, who he's currently writing the Avengers Undercover book, which actually leads out of Avengers Arena. And then he was also writing Cable and X Force there like a year or two ago, and I really enjoyed that series too. So yeah, I kind of like that dude's writing. I'm gonna have to look and see what else he's written and check it out because I liked it. He apparently pitched the book as more like a like a high school drama kind of thing, and then this was just going to be like a story arc further down the line.
Because there's not enough high school drama stories in our.
Well, in comics there aren't so much. Like,
Well, yeah.
I know you guys gave Gotham Academy some shit when they talked about it coming out, but like not every book is for everybody, and
That's true.
and so like some people want to read something a little more lighthearted, and I'm sure there's a lot of audiences that they could
Well,
could
it
get
could help
like
with
that,
bringing
so.
in. It could help with bringing in more younger readers
Right.
too, to
Right.
expose them to comics that might not normally just pick up a Superman book or a X-Men book.
So so he pitched it as that, and the editors were like wait, no, what was that like third story arc you wanted to do? And he starts explaining. He goes, nope, just do that. They were like, do that. That's your story.
Just start there.
He's like, but
what about all the other stuff?
well, he even said he was kind of disappointed at first because he was like, oh God, can I really start like killing off these characters? I like these characters. And then he said as he started writing it, he was like, no, this could be some pretty powerful stuff. So yeah, no, I like that one. So I finished that one, and then the other thing I read was I finally read last fall's big X-Men crossover, the Battle of the Atom, and I really liked that one too. It was primarily written by Bendis. Primarily did this one, and it crossed over with 4 different X-Men books, and it was basically like a 10-part series that went from book to book, which was kind of cool because it got all the the different big X-Men titles involved, but didn't have like one event book and then like 40 million different tie-in books, and
Oh, man.
it wasn't as disjointed as a lot of crossovers. There weren't like 90-something tie-ins like
Forever Evil.
Like I had to read for AVX, or like you're doing with Civil War.
Forever Evil was bad because it had those, like all the Trinity War stuff and like
right, the other stuff.
Like
that was
you
going
could read
on.
it and it's like this doesn't like it's clearly even on the cover labeled a Forever Evil tie-in, and it's like I don't even understand how this is linking up to the storyline at all.
Well, that's like when I read Infinity, last summer's Infinity with Thanos and the Builders and whatnot, and you had the main storyline, and you had the main event title, and then it also crossed into Avengers and New Avengers were kind of like part of the main the main storyline there, but then you had like 5 or 17 other books like that were all labeled as tie-ins, and they had side stories, and it was like, oh, here's what these people are doing, and yeah, they were related, and some of them were actually kind of decent, but like some of them, like, yeah, you don't always have to read every tie-in to know what's going on, because a lot of times you get these side stories that's just it's basically that person's comic, but in the context of events that are happening, more globally or whatnot. So, there were actually several that I skipped, which is hard for me to do as a completionist and OCD, like not reading some of the tie-in issues is like I can't do it. But yeah, there were a few I was just like, no, I'm skipping that. So Battle of the Atom. Basically, Beast has been screwing with the time stream, and he brought the whole all new X-Men series is about. He brings the original 5 X-Men forward in time from when they were teenagers to the modern day world in hopes of showing them, presenting them to Cyclops and seeing, like look at how we used to be, like, and look at how far you've fallen, like are you really staying true to what we started this as, and and they end up sticking around for a while, and then so Battle of the Atom is basically about this group of future X-Men who comes back in time to current day to tell them that they need to send those original X-Men back in time. And it sounds a little confusing because you've got current X-Men, past X-Men, future X-Men, and it's not as confusing as you'd think, but they even like call attention to that in the book. They're like, okay, so old me was fighting young me and past me and present me, and it was kind of funny, like the way they were talking about it sometimes. But it ends up being a cool story because you've got these X-Men from the future. Not all of them are who they say they are, and some of them actually turn out to be bad guys, and so then there's this this war over who's actually telling the truth, and you get all the different X teams involved, and everybody kind of comes together, and there's a lot of really good character moments in there, and it's interesting to see the future of characters sometimes. Like a lot of times that people go into the past, or there's a lot of time travel in X-Men books, but this one goes kind of like to the next generation, and so like some of the characters they're showing are like offspring of current members, and it's like oh weird, like and they slowly kind of reveal like the identities of them like over the course of the series, and so that was kind of really cool too, because it's like, but who is that? And then you find out, you're like, oh shit,
they
so
had a baby.
Yeah. So it was kind of fun for me.
They did the dirty dance.
I think he's gonna pork her, Dad.
There's one point, is they reveal this pretty early on, but where is it? Okay, so there's this character, and if you
Is it like Beast Wolverine?
So Beast and Wolverine made a baby.
If you can't see that, it's a dude who kind of looks like Wolverine, but with blue skin.
Wolverine fucked Nightcrawler.
No, his mom actually. It's the son of Wolverine and Mystique, and Wolverine finds this out at one point, and he goes, somebody else asks who that is, and Wolverine goes, yeah, apparently that's my future child with Mystique. And then he mutters to himself, remind me to never have sex again.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was pretty funny. So yeah, I enjoyed that series, and I'm really having fun catching up on all my X-Men stuff. But even what you'll find even more interesting than what I've been reading is what I've been watching, because this past weekend I started.
Yes.
I owe an apology to my Comic Book Nerd Nation colleagues here, because I would give them shit for talking about Arrow every fucking week, and like, why don't you just reterm this the Arrow podcast? Fuck this, I'm out. This is all you guys ever talked about. But I started watching it finally last week, and I'm about 8 or 9 episodes in now, and it's been really fucking good.
You haven't even got to the good shit yet.
I know, that's what everybody keeps telling me. They're like, wait till second season.
Yeah,
and
you're
then,
still on
third season's even better.
You're still on the part of the show where it's like a fucking
I'm still
teeny bopper, like all it is him taking his shirt off and exercising.
Everybody keeps telling me I'm still on the boring part, but
Yeah.
I've been loving it so far. Like it's a really good show. By the end of the first episode, I was like, oh man, this is so good. I'm like, I have to watch another one. And then like after 2 or 3 episodes, I was like, fuck, this show's good.
The second season is easily twice as good as the first season. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
So I mean that's been really fun.
Welcome
watching
to the
that.
club.
Man, I really like how it's like it's gritty without being like overly dark.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of times people try and make stuff like really dark and serious and heavy, and they didn't do that.
Yeah,
but
like
it's not
overly
like
melodramatic.
but it's not like campy or toony or anything. And like I like Marvel Agents of Shield. Like
But it's
I
fucking
watch it.
boring.
I still enjoy it. I don't even know if it's like there was definitely a span last year where it was kind of it was boring as shit. It was
On a
pretty
side
bad.
note, they just added Marvel Agents of Shield to Netflix. If there's anybody out there that wants to catch up on starting, I think it's just the first season right now. But
I
yeah,
will say that by the end of that first season, when they kind of did a lead into Winter Soldier, the movie, and kind of did some follow up episodes on the fallout of events that happened in the movie, and I thought it was they did an amazing job of tying a movie and a TV show together. Like I don't know that I've ever seen anybody do that, to that effect before, and I thought that was really cool. And I've been enjoying this season so far too. But man, I watched Arrow and I'm like, God damn, all shows should be this good, like. And then like looking at Agents of Shield after watching Arrow, I'm like, yeah, there's just something I can't quite put my finger on about how like it doesn't seem serious enough. It doesn't seem real enough. Like there's just kind of this air of, you know, I don't know,
almost
like
a sitcom feel to it a little bit.
yeah, like it's not even necessarily campy or fake or anything. It's just it doesn't feel realistic, I guess, is part of it. And not everything has to be super realistic, but like they gloss over a few too many things in that show, and it didn't bother me so much before until I started watching Arrow, and now I'm like, damn it, this show is so good. I wish other shows
Yeah.
were this good.
I think part of it is Arrow really addresses not only what it's like for him being a superhero, but also what it's like for him being Oliver Queen and
Hmm.
having to keep the secret of being Green Arrow. So I think that showing both sides of so many personal relationships on either side of his character, I think really, like you said, it gives it this tone of realisticness of you can identify with it. But so what would
So
oh, okay,
so
go ahead.
so that was pretty much everything I got to. But I realized when I went to the comic book store this week that I'm pretty much never gonna fucking catch up with all my stuff because, like, I went to the comic book store this week. Like, dude, this is my pile. Do you
Yeah,
see this?
I believe it. I
Like,
believe it.
so much shit came out this week, and I'm not even reading like everything. I'm just trying to keep up on the series that I like really enjoy. Like, okay, so new this week, Avengers I bought because it's also well, Cyclops is on the cover. I don't know. I'm sure this has some Axis related stuff. Spider Woman #1 came out, and I like picking up #1s and checking them out. The latest issue of Axis, you've got New Avengers, and we're going up to this time runs out stuff, and Avengers and New Avengers are kind of like the main series dealing with, because those are the ones that Hickman's writing leading up to Secret Wars
Right.
next year. So I've been trying to keep up on those. I picked up the Carnage mini series. I've been reading Magneto's ongoing.
Jesus
Like
Christ.
and it's like they keep increasing the frequency that these are all
Yeah.
coming out. I was checking out
Yeah.
Black Widow's
So
book.
many of them are
There's the
bi-weekly now.
Batman Eternal book that comes out every fucking week. New Harley Quinn this week. Uncanny X-Men came out this week. There's a Axis side series called Revolutions. It's part of the crossover. We're in the middle of the Spider-Verse crossover. I picked up Amazing Spider-Man for that. There's still some Death of Wolverine follow-up with the Weapon X program. I've got Storm's miniseries, and I've heard
Jesus.
Avengers World is starting up, gearing up to be, like really big in terms of the leap forward in time that they're doing leading up to Time Runs Out, and it's still an Axis tie-in. So like I decided to pick that up too, and hey, check it out! I bought another DC book.
Holy shit.
The new creative team for Wonder Woman started this week,
Is that Jim
and
Lee?
so
Is that a Jim Lee art?
it's well, actually that's a good question. I don't know who did the
That
cover.
looks like
I know
Jim Lee.
it does a little bit. I know the interior art is not.
Huh.
Where the hell are DC's credits page?
Usually it's on the
Um,
cover.
uh,
Or look at the inside of cover. It
no,
might be there.
no, Finch. It's the the artist for the book. So it's this husband and wife couple who are now writing and drawing Wonder Woman, and I read an interview with them like several months back talking about how they were going to be taking it over and the direction they were going to take it in, and it sounded really interesting. And I was like, you know what?
Is it Jay Lindstein and his wife?
No, it's M and D
They
Finch.
do Harley Quinn.
Here we go. Let's see
Writers.
here.
Who's the writers?
The Finches.
Yeah, it's the Finch couple.
Oh, I
but
thought he said it was that was the artist.
Yeah, it
No,
says
it's-
husband and wife couple. Finch is the author. The other Finch is the writer. I mean, one's the writer, one's the artist.
Artist.
Um,
I got you.
Oh, here we go. Meredith and David Finch.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so yeah, so I read I read that there was going to be a new creative team, and I'd never really known much about Wonder Woman. I never really cared for Superman comics, and I read a bunch of Batman stuff. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna pick up the new Wonder Woman.
I read a handful of the Wonder Woman's leading up to that one, probably the last maybe 4 or so, and I liked them. They were pretty good, but I also have not read a lot of them. I'd be interested in checking that out. But what about you, Pirate? What have you been reading?
I read an actual book
Okay.
this week. It was wasn't a comic book, but it was kind of. I guess you could relate it to comic books.
Were there pictures?
There was no pictures.
What?
It was
I
all.
didn't see you reading a book without pictures.
It was all audio. No, actually, it was audio slash. Because I got both of them, so I go back and forth like when I'm at work and stuff. But it was Nick.
When you need help sounding out the big words.
Big words, yeah. Nick Offerman's How to Paddle Your Own Canoe, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with who Nick Offerman is. He plays Ron Swanson in Parks and Recreation with Chris Pratt, who was Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy, the show that he was in with him previously. So I guess it's comic book related. Yeah. So anyway,
Relatively.
yeah, it's like 3 degrees of Kevin Bacon type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a good book. I just, it's
Man, sometimes
It's
you
not
got to change it up.
comic
Like,
book
you
related.
can't read the same stuff all the time. You get a little bit burned out. That's kind of why I switched back and went to the Marvel Civil War stuff, just to kind of switch it up. I was getting a little burned out on reading Batman
reading a
Eternal
lot of
every
Batman.
week and shit.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's jump over and talk about some news. Let's see. The first bit of news that I wanted to talk about, I thought this was pretty interesting because I think all of us have, at least at some point on some level, discussed, if not watched, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is actually coming out with a video game. It's going to be an episodic video game. I think it's going to be very similar to the Walking Dead video game that kind of came out where you played through the different episodes. I think it's going to be kind of like that, like a choose your own destiny kind of thing. I'm not 100% sure. They just released the original trailer for it. I forget what the hell the name of the game is called, but it looks pretty decent. It's called Game of Thrones Iron from Ice. So I don't know how many episodes there's going to be. I don't really know exactly, how if it's going to be worth buying or not. But I'm mildly interested in checking this out. I may take that trip and see what that game's about when it comes out. I'm not entirely sure when it comes out.
What kind of game is it? Like a
Is it PC?
survival, like a battle, like a third-person hack and slash, or
It is made by the makers of The Walking Dead, so I was pretty right on. It's kind of a
Is it a mobile game type thing, like iPad, iOS?
no, I don't think so. I think it's going to be. Let's see. It doesn't say what platforms it's going to be on, but I think it's going to be similar to The Walking Dead, where basically you kind of watch the episode and then you get a choice. And so it's kind of like those old pick your own destiny books where you like,
Choose
if
your
you
own
want to make
adventure.
this decision, go to page 72. If you make this decision, go to page 98 or whatever. Like you know, like you can save this person or you can save this person, or you know, attack this person or cut a deal with this person or that kind of stuff. And then you'll have points where you have to kind of like quickly react to something that's happening on screen and hit a button, or it's that kind of feel of a game. There was another PlayStation 3 game that was like that. Fuck, I can't remember the name of the game. Heavy Rain. If either of you, I don't know
that detective
Heavy Rain or Hard Rain. Yeah, kind of that feel. I think it could be really good. I mean, the Game of Thrones universe is very in-depth, has a lot of really, really interesting characters, great storylines, and with them doing it in an episodic type of release format where, you know, you play through this one and then it leads to the next episode, they could end up making this into fucking, who knows, like 50 games if they want it, depending on how in-depth they want the story to go. So I may check this out. I don't know.
I don't know. I tried to avoid those story add-ons that are all about finding more ways to milk a franchise. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
The only thing worse than buying 52 straight issues every week of Batman Eternal is buying 50 straight episodes of a $50 fucking video game.
No, but the Walking Dead video game was only like, it was like $7 per episode when it came out.
Then there's all like in-app purchases. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
well, no, this wasn't an app. It's not an app game.
Yeah, but they have. I'm just using it as an example because they have a Walking Dead app game that's all in.
Yeah, but the Walking Dead game he's talking about though was, I think it was PC and console, and it was one of those where like you could download like expansion packs, like it was like content packs, you know, that you buy on
There's
PlayStation.
Every game comes out with like extras that you pay for. Like that's just the way video games are now.
But it wasn't like you weren't buying like unlocks or something. You were buying like the next part of the story.
The next chapter.
Like the next chapter.
Which in my opinion is kind of even worse because it's like, oh, they leave you at a climax point, but if you want to know how it ends, you know, you got to pay into it. It's not like you want to change what your outfit is.
I mean, I guess, but it's like when you look at it too, like you only pay like $7 or $10 for the game. And it's several hours to play through the game. I mean, it's not like a short thing. You know, it takes 10 or 15 hours worth of gameplay to play through episode 1 for like $10. And then like a handful of months later, they release the next chapter of the story. And then for $10, you do that one.
I don't have anything against it. I just saying, me personally, it's not what I enjoy. I mean, I have all the books for Game of Thrones, so I mean, if I want to know what happens, I'm just gonna book.
Yeah, to Pirate's point, you know, like there's something to be said for paying $50 up front to know that you're buying a complete game. That
I think you can do that too. I think that when they came out with it, it was like a one-time $40 fee, and you get the whole story. And so then, as they're released, you could just go in and download the next episode as it is released.
Of course, you know that's not even a sure thing. I mean, look at all these series games like fuck Assassin's Creed. You can pay $60 for the first couple, and then like it ends on some big cliffhanger, and there's still going to be a sequel down the road that that if you really want to know the entire complete story, you're going to have to keep buying sequels.
There's like a billion Assassin's Creed games now.
And they're all amazing except for the newest one, which I haven't played yet, but I've heard good and bad things about it. But
I've played like the first 3 or 4. I'm still stuck on Revelations.
Oh, you're with Enzio still. You haven't even got to Connor yet.
No, I'm on. No, this was like some like Middle East dude.
Oh, that's Altair, dude. That's
No. It wasn't. It was after Altair was the first one. Then it was Ezio. You had Assassin's Creed, then Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood, and then this is Assassin's Creed Revelations that came out.
Which is all Ezio.
It's not. Well, okay.
Yes, it is.
Well, the game I'm playing is not Ezio.
Yes, it's all him until Assassin's Creed 3, which is Connor. Then Assassin's Creed 4, which is Connor's grandfather.
Keep discussing. Okay. I'll look it up.
Yeah, look that up.
All right. Next bit of news while I'm looking that up is Howard the Duck is actually getting his own new ongoing series of comics. What do you? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm so excited to see that, but I don't know if I'm going to read it because I don't want it to. I don't want to crush my childhood. It's like going back and watching cartoons when you was like,
okay,
from when you enjoyed them when you was like 8.
Here's the answer. It's Desmond is the character.
No, Desmond's always the character until
it's Ezio. Desmond and other names that I'm seeing are brothers Salem and Ahmet.
Those are people who are like side characters.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess you are playing as Ezio, but you're in the Middle East, and the character, like, I think, yes. I don't know.
And
so
then in Assassin's Creed 3, it goes to Connor.
Older. He's an old man. Yeah, Ezio's an old man, but that's why it's Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revolution, all that. Then it goes to Assassin's Creed 3 because
he's training somebody in like the Middle East, to like expand like the Assassin's Guild and I thought that you started out playing somebody else that wasn't Ezio, but I could be wrong.
Ezio's an old man in that one, but that's who you mainly are like throughout the progression of the game.
Right, but no, Doug, Desmond is the present day character. Yeah,
I remember. I've played a couple of them
Desmond. Desmond's the guy that they get the DNA strand. No, I'm saying up to where you're at. Desmond's the guy who they use his DNA strand to reconnect in
Black Flag.
Yeah, he's like
he's not in Black Flag.
He's basically the present day assassin that like the present day Templar company abducts to try and go through his memories to find the location of artifacts. So when you're actually playing the game, you're basically playing through memories of Desmond's ancestors.
What do they call the machine? These in the Artemis or
it's the
Animus.
Animus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Connor and Edward Treat.
Edward Kenway.
Edward Kenway and Connor are they're 3 and 4, and I haven't played the newest one, so I don't know what's up with Unity, but.
Okay, so back on.
So Howard the Duck.
Yeah, Howard the Duck. Let's get to him. What do you guys? So apparently, I read that this was the reason for the cameo appearance in the post-credit scene of Guardians of the Galaxy where you see Howard the Duck was just to kind of bring him to light, get him a little bit of FaceTime with audiences because of the fact that they were planning to do this solo series.
I was under the impression that it was the other way around.
Oh, really?
They stuck Howard Duck in there, Howard the Duck in the Guardians, just as kind of like a joke. And then, a bunch of people have been saying, oh, is there going to be a Howard the Duck series? And so they were like, well, I mean, if people are going to buy it, sure, we can make a Howard the Duck series. So
that could be. That very well could be.
That's the way I heard it, too. Okay. It was kind of like they threw him in the movie as like kind of a respect to the very first Marvel movie ever to get on the big screen.
They would not put Howard the Duck in a movie simply to advertise their upcoming Howard the Duck comic book. I don't even see them doing that. But no, I read the. It sounds kind of interesting. They're trying to make him a little bit look more realistic, so that he fits and doesn't look so cartoonish. You know what I mean? When you look at all the other creatures in the Marvel Universe and all the other characters that have, look
they're
random.
I mean, more believable.
Howard the Duck isn't exactly out of place when you put him on panel with, Rocket Raccoon and
Cosmo.
Yeah, random other characters. So, So no, yeah, I think they're trying to make him out to be like a, they're doing the private detective angle. So I mean, who knows? I mean, that's a character where it's gonna just come down to how well the stories are written. Like, it could be really good, it could completely suck. It just depends on.
I'm curious about it. I just don't know if I'm gonna jump right into the whole launch issues and stuff. You know
I'll
what I
probably
mean?
pick up the #1 and then.
Well, you ain't gonna read it till next year. You'll get it, but you won't get to it. You know what I mean? Like, we know how you are.
You make an excellent point. I will catch up one of these days.
You'll own fucking the first 2 years of the series before you realize if you like it or not. So, I mean,
let's talk briefly about. Looks like Topher's got some news about Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four. I don't know if you want to chime us in on that.
Well, it also has a mouthful of donut.
That's what they're calling it now? Donut?
Yeah, this white stuff all over my face. It's powdered sugar.
Oh yeah.
Could have swore it was a mouthful of dick.
So yeah, they said this a few weeks ago. It came out in an interview. I don't think we've had a chance to mention it yet, but some details emerged about the new Fantastic Four movie from Fox. Somebody was doing an interview.
They're canceling it.
No. Somebody was doing an interview. Oh, you wish they were by the end of it. Somebody was doing an interview with the guy who plays Doctor Doom, and they were asking him a bit about his character. And so the things that came out of this interview were, his name is not Victor Von Doom in this story. His name is Victor Domashev.
So yet again, they're fucking the characters up.
So
this is going to be the most fucking atrocious version of anything to do with any comic book topic ever made.
Get this. Is he a megalomaniacal dictator with plans for world domination? And
no, he's a veterinarian.
No, he's a computer programmer.
I knew it.
What?
I knew it. I had a feeling he was gonna say he's like some fucking
computer programmer.
Fucking hacked, dude.
So they basically took Victor Von Doom and turned him into fucking Ned Flanders.
So where does the name Doctor Doom come? Where does the name Doom come from?
Where does the doctor part come from?
I don't know where the doctor part comes from, but
Doom comes from a video game.
No, the way Doom is his. Doom is his online screen name on blogging sites.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
This is going to be the worst movie ever.
Give him a Guy Fawkes mask and not even a fucking... This is so stupid.
This is going to be an absolutely horrible movie. If there's anybody that's listening to this podcast right now that thinks that Fantastic Four is going to be a good movie, please, for the love of God, leave a comment in the comments section below and let us know why. Give us a reason why this movie is going to be good, because right now I can't see it. I can't see any possible, even remote link to something that's going to be good about this movie. They've changed every character, just about.
So here's the direct quote from Tony Kebbell, who's who's the actor. He goes, "He's Victor Domashev, not Victor Von Doom in our story, and I'm sure I'll be sent to jail for telling you that. The Doom in ours, I'm a programmer, very antisocial programmer, and on blogging sites, I'm Doom."
Blogging sites. Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm sorry, you cannot use Doom and blog in the same fucking sentence.
So let me get this straight. Let's just very quickly let's walk through all of the discrepancies with Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four the movie. So Johnny Storm is black.
That one doesn't bother
white.
me.
And he is not brother and sister, clearly, with Sue Storm.
Yeah, they're step siblings, or not step. They're I think one of them they're adopted or something. So
okay.
So yeah, they were raised together in the same family as brother and sister.
Did they not? They changed the origin too of the Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they did, because in the comic book, they're going on a
cosmic forces or something, cosmic powers that changed it, right?
Well, they're in a spaceship. They go into space because Reed Richards is doing some highly scientific research study thing, because he's like a fucking super genius and has grants from universities and shit to go do this. So they're like a science team, on some research expedition into space, and they get blasted by, cosmic rays while they're out there, and that's how they get their powers. So I can't see these teenagers being on some sanctioned research science mission
So
in space. So
now,
there's going to have to be something different there.
To add to all of that, so after changing basically most of the origins of the Fantastic Four as a whole, now you've taken the number one villain from the Fantastic Four, which is probably as popular as the Fantastic Four itself.
More so. I mean, if you look at like crossovers and whatnot,
Doom
like when they talk about the villains of the Marvel Universe,
Doctor Doom is at the top of
Doctor Doom is
He's
like
right there.
Yeah,
with Magneto.
He gets used in stuff that isn't Fantastic Four stuff just because he's such a damn good villain.
Yeah, he's right up there with like Red Skull, Magneto, that top tier of character, and now you're turning him into a fucking blogger. So he's now some fucking nitpicking nerd, internet warrior that has to have a name Doom so that he can talk shit about other people's stuff on blogs. And he's supposed to be the fucking supervillain? What?
Yep.
That Pirate, you are now the next top tier supervillain of the Marvel universe. Yep, Pirate. That's perfectly good. You're an evil podcaster from the Comic Book Nerd Nation podcast named Dr. Pirate. So we're gonna go ahead and throw you in the Fantastic Four sequel movie.
I feel like really like that just gave me like chill. Like I could do this. I could do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I already have visions of it and stuff. Like, you know, I don't know. Like,
look, everybody watch for a potential costume next week.
Every time we've talked about something in this movie, every time we've talked about something, you know, that they've released about this movie, I've been defending it.
Yes, you have.
I've been defending it, and I've been saying, look, you know, like, sure, it's a different direction, but it might work in this case. You know, we haven't had a successful Fantastic Four movie in a while.
Wings are spreading on this one. Let's just, you know.
But it's really hard to defend this one. They may have lost. I mean, I'm still going to go see it because now I want to see this train wreck. But I can't sit here and go like, I can't sit here and say, you know, that I think it's still going to be decent. It's going to be hard to. It's going to be hard with that one, man.
I lost a lot of faith in this movie when they said that they didn't want the actors even looking into the comic books. You know what I mean? Flat out, they told them, like, don't bother studying the character.
I lost a lot of faith in this movie when they said they were going to make it. Like, I was never convinced that there was going to be anything good about this movie.
You know, the thing that saddens me the most, like, I honestly kind of want to see a terrible Fantastic Four movie. I think it'd be funny just to watch them.
Oh, you're going to get to see one. Don't worry.
But
I thought you haven't seen the first two ones?
Well, what I was looking forward to, though, were some solid characters and a decent story, so that when they eventually do the Fantastic Four X-Men crossover movie that they want to do, that it was actually going to be decent. And now I'm like, no, you keep these fucking characters the hell away from my X-Men.
Yep, the Fantastic Four is going to be like the turd in the punch bowl of the crossover movie. That is exactly what that is going to be. You're going to have this fantastic bowl of tasty punch, and then they're just going to drop this huge stinky stink pickle in it, and it's going to ruin the whole fucking thing. And then they're going to have to reboot X-Men because that movie's going to stink so bad. It's going to be a shit show.
And then Victor Domashev's going to post online about how he dropped a turd in the punch bowl. He's like,
yeah, that's his ultimate revenge plan, is to talk shit about the Fantastic Four on a blog.
I hit him with the Doom Deuce.
The Doom Deuce. Yes. Oh God. This movie is going to inspire internet warriors around the world to become something greater, because they're going to see it's going to be basically that. It's a fucking I can't even. All right, moving on.
It's doing a civil disservice. It's basically telling all these assholes that are already doing that shit online that now they can become a supervillain.
Every troll will aspire to be greatness now.
Yeah, that's it. All right, let's talk about Chris Pratt for a minute. I know we mentioned him recently, earlier in the episode. Pirate, you were telling us Chris Pratt was cast in Cowboy Ninja Viking. Did I get that
Yeah.
right? Okay.
I don't know if it's official cast, but they said that he's in talks at least. So I don't know if it's like 100%.
Okay, so it's
They're
rumored.
gonna do the
We'll go with
movie.
rumored.
It's rumored. Yeah, rumored that he's going to be the lead role in Cowboy Ninja Viking,
which is
was
just a fantastic title. It really is.
Well, the whole idea I think is kind of cool. Like I have them. I haven't really read
The
all
only
of them.
way it
There's
could
only
get
10
better for
comics.
you is if it was Cowboy Ninja Viking Pirate.
Well, here's the thing.
Oh shit!
The whole premise.
That's
the whole
the
premise
sequel.
of the comics is about these. It's basically like a team of individuals that have multi personalities, and their personalities depict, and that's where they get their powers from. So like one person's like an Applebee's waiter, an army sergeant, and an executioner. Another one is there's a pirate, an oceanographer, and I can't remember what his third one is, but there's like 12 or 13 different ones, and
a pool cleaner.
Yeah, at a gas station.
I mean, there's it's random shit, but they started off as they're led by a psychologist who basically creates this team and of like super individuals, and then they become like a rogue unit and end up all splitting off and become like evildoers and random things and stuff like that. And the main character is, I believe, sent to kill them all. So he has to like fight through all of them to, I guess. I mean, like I said, it's only 10 comics. It was done by Image, and I think it was put out by. It was one of the co-owners or co-creators of Image. His side company. He wrote it, but it was through Image, but I think it was distributed through his other company, like Shadow Line or Shadow something.
Once you
that
read
way
that,
it's not conflicting.
Once you read that, you should come back and kind of give us an overview of like how the story went and stuff, because I'm kind of interested. I'm not interested enough yet to go pick it up and read it, but I'd kind of like to hear a little bit more about it, I think.
Yeah, I'll check it. Like I said, I mean, most of it I got, the premise I got was from the internet, like overall, once I've seen that Chris Pratt was cast for it. But, and going back, I realized I had the two collected versions, and I started reading it and never did. It was one of those ones that you kind of pick up and, like, oh, I'll check this out just because it had a funny title.
Right.
Started to read one and never really followed through with it. So I may give it another go ahead.
Yeah.
I always read everything I buy, like, right away.
Well, we all don't need an intervention like Topher does, but, you know. Topher's single-handedly keeping the industry going, I think.
Yeah, no shit, dude.
So.
All right. The next bit of news I thought was pretty interesting. Coming out in June of 2015, there's going to be a new Thanos saga released. It's going to be titled Thanos: The Infinity Relativity, and it's going to be written by Jim Starlin, which is awesome. And in this,
so we already know who's going to win.
In this, Thanos is actually playing, quote unquote, the good guy, I guess. He's set to save the universe from Annihilus, who's leading a negative zone army.
Yeah, Annihilus was the bad guy in Annihilation, the big Marvel cosmic event that happened like 2010, I guess, where the current Guardians of the Galaxy team spun out of. So like I mentioned, like about 6 months ago or something, reading that event, like hands down one of the best events I've ever read. Like I loved that story. Annihilation was awesome. And so yeah, just a little background there. You know, Annihilus is kind of like this. He looks like a giant robotic insect, and he's basically the ruler of the negative zone, which the concept is like it's kind of like the flip side of our reality, like pockets of interdimensional space, and like Annihilation was because like the universe was expanding, and so the negative zone was contracting, and Annihilus was getting pissed off, and so he decided to invade our universe.
Dude,
instead.
You know what he looks like? He looks like Ultron had sex with a fucking insect.
Yeah, that's what I said. He looks like a giant homicidal robot insect.
Yeah, that's
Pretty much.
exactly what he looks like.
So but he like the his army is called the Annihilation Wave, and it's basically like this giant hive mind army of like think of like the Zerg from StarCraft. It's basically just like this like giant carrier ships and all these flying like insect creatures that just swarm over everything and kill everything. So yeah, I guess Thanos is going up against Annihilus, and it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be a setup for like the future um, of like the cosmic stuff for Marvel. I was reading about it yesterday actually, and now I'm having like trouble remembering what I said, but I guess they're bringing back Adam Warlock and stuff too. So,
Nice.
and I think that this whole infinity relativity thing is coming out of I think the whole Hulk versus Thanos series is setting that one up. So.
Ooh, interested, definitely. Yeah, I can't wait to check that out. Um,
But Jim Starlin's writing it, so we all know that Thanos is going to win twice.
well, clearly, I mean, could you really expect him to do it any other way? I mean, honestly.
Well, I mean, Thanos is Starlin's creation. Like he created that character. It's pretty much his baby, and he was out. He didn't do any Marvel comics for a long time after like Infinity Gauntlet. After he was involved with all that stuff, and when he came back, like I don't know, 10 years later or something, there were some stories like earlier in the 2000s, I think, where some other people had used Thanos in a couple stories, and like he got beat by a couple people, and I guess Starlin didn't like the portrayal of the character, so the next time Starlin wrote wrote a Thanos storyline, he went through this whole elaborate explanation of how Thanos had been testing people around the cosmos by creating an army of Thanos clones and seeing how well they could operate, and by sending them out, and even names like all these different stories is like, yeah, I sent one out to this guy and this guy, and like he's like, and this one failed because of this and this one failed because of that. He's like, so pretty much I had to scrap the project because none of them could be as good as the true Thanos, so like he basically retconned every time Thanos ever got beat by saying it was in some inferior clone, and then had Thanos go around
ass all over the other writers.
Just to make him just to set him back up is awesome. And to his point, some of the stories were pretty bad. And Thanos is supposed to be like this menacing dude that it's like damn near impossible to beat. So it shouldn't just be something that happens all the damn time.
Yeah, fair enough.
But if Starlin's writing it, you pretty much know that Thanos is going to be like, the star hero winner. Like,
yeah,
he's
going to be the baddest dude in the book for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that's. Oh, go ahead.
Well, before we end it, I got a question I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Have you guys seen Prometheus?
No. That was the one by Ripley Scott, like the new, like the almost Aliens prequel, but not quite.
Yeah, okay, because I watched it for the first time last night because I just found out that it was an Aliens prequel, and I was so confused. Because they said they're going to bring a new alien into it, and it's supposed to be a prequel, and since you guys haven't seen it, then I guess it's pointless. But yeah, I'm just really confused about that movie. If anybody in the comments can post anything that may know about the back history of this, and
it was supposed to be a prequel. Originally, they started it that way, and the idea was that it was going to be. And there are several references in there to things from the Alien universe, but in the end, I think they decided not to tie it to that franchise. So there are departures, and it doesn't. I don't think it completely flows with the Alien movies, but It was basically conceptualized as the prequel, and then at some point they said, okay, but it's not really going to be the prequel, so we can kind of do whatever we want. So it started off that way, and then it didn't actually end up being that. So
okay.
All right. Well, we got Decepticon pirate going on here.
and Pirate is the prequel to Transformers. He's showing us this is the origin story of Megatron right here, guys.
Yeah,
it
all starts inside Pirate's fucking microphone.
Just like Dr. Doom, the big villain here was a guy who goes by a renegade name on podcast websites, and then one day he decided to call himself Megatron and develop a robotic voice and terrorized the world.
Man, you should write a letter to Michael Bay. You might be able to make that shit happen.
It's like all antisocial, and Fox presents a Michael Bay production. Megatron. All
right, that's it.
Transformers Origins Megatron.
That's it for this week. I'm Fox 2. We got Megatron Pirate.
See you guys.
And Topher.
See you guys.